I'm Zoe Chan from 1Z. So today I'm doing a tea talk on the topic Know Thyself. And as you all should know by now, I'm going to use English to do this talk. So you can feel free to ask me questions at the end of the talk. Now, I know what you all are thinking. What is knowing thyself? What does it mean? What's so important about this? And why do we have to talk about it? These are all some questions and focus points I'll talk about later. Now, I'm sure all of you know what know means. What's about thyself? Does anyone know what thyself means? Anyone? Alice? Dora? No? Yeah, it means yourself. So, yes, thyself means yourself. So the topic is know yourself. But why do we need to know this? Today I'm going to talk about the origin of the saying know thyself. And I will talk about why we should know ourselves. Is it hard to do so? How can we know ourselves? Also, I'll have some conclusions and you guys can ask me questions if you have any. Now, I'll talk about the origin of the saying, know thyself. So, in ancient Delphi, know thyself was one of the several philosophical sayings carved over the entrance in the Temple of Apollo. Ancient Delphi is a small city in ancient Greece, but it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, that was a fun fact. So this phrase is very influential, and even Socrates, a very famous philosopher, reinterpreted it into a famous quote, "To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom." It was believed by many that Socrates was the one who first said, "Know thyself," but now we know it's not. So we've talked about the history of this phrase. What's about meaning? Knowing yourself is more than just knowing your personality. It's also about learning your likes, dislikes, beliefs, values, personal boundaries, strengths, weaknesses, and your life's purpose. Now, before I make you all yawn and leave, let's get down to business. I will talk about why we should know ourselves. Here's 3 points. Number 1, to have better relationships with others. Number 2, to become a better person and to make it easier to accept ourselves. To have better relationships with others. You'll forge better relationships when you know yourself. It's easier to share your feelings and your point of view when you know yourself. You'll know what kind of people you'll get along with, so you can find your friends and your own community at school or at work. Misunderstanding between you and others would decrease as well. No one wants others to misunderstand you, right? If you want others to understand yourself, then you have to do so first. So if your friends and family misunderstand you, you can share your feelings if you know your feelings. So I've heard a lot of my friends say that they don't want to talk to others about their feelings, but you have to do so because others can maybe comfort you if you're feeling very confused or sad about yourself. To make it easier to accept ourselves. That includes embracing both our weaknesses and our strengths, as well as knowing and appreciating our value in the world. Despite your flaws, insecurities, etc., you learn self-love and acceptance. Once you do, you can walk through the world with more confidence and care less about what other people think of you. But I know some people that actually know themselves, but they can't accept themselves. Why is that? They probably can't accept your weakness or their more vulnerable side. Listen, it's perfectly normal and okay to have weaknesses, and everybody has them. Even if you don't accept yourself, your weakness will still be there. It won't just disappear in thin air. So I encourage you all to know yourself bit by bit and also accept yourself, including your weakness, because it's a part of you, whether you like it or not. To become a better person. Seriously, it's true. Self-doubt gradually disappears when you know and accept yourself, and others won't influence you as easily. It'll be easier to stay true to who you are, and that is important because who we are is what makes us special. Also, expressing who you are will help you improve your well-being. Be yourself. You've got nothing to hide. You'll feel more alive too. Being who you truly are will make you more enthusiastic about life and make all your experiences feel more awesome and more memorable, because you won't feel happy when you're not being yourself, right? You'll have more self-worth too when you know yourself. This makes others respect you because other people like people who are confident in themselves and people who have self-worth. So yeah, and you can respect yourself too when you have self-worth. Now I'm going to talk about whether it is hard or not to know thyself. And you can see here, I have written in all caps, yes, because we change all the time. Our height, weight, age, personality, likings, habits, etc., etc. can change within time. So I wondered, is there one thing in us that never changes? That's our past. What happens in our past has happened, and you can never do anything to change it. It has left a mark in history, which could never be erased. People always say, don't focus too much in the past. Live now, live in this moment. Well, this even appeared in our Form 1 illness book, but I'm afraid this saying isn't completely correct. It is true that we should not mourn too much over our past or maybe mistakes we've made before, but we should also learn from them. We should examine our past, what we have done well, and what we could do better in the future. If you have made stupid mistakes, then you can prevent them from happening so much again. If you have made wise choices, that's great, you can make more. When we know our past, which is a part of ourselves, then maybe for some people, it's easier for them to accept it. I would continue on the, okay. So there's a reason why I said that it is very hard to know ourselves, because for some people, when they self-reflect, they may get carried away. So what I mean is that maybe when a person is thinking about his or her past, then maybe he or she had thought of some mistakes that they've made before, and they may feel, oh, this mistake I've made before is so stupid and so embarrassing. I can't face anyone again because of this mistake. So yeah, knowing yourself is very hard, isn't it? It may even feel like an emotional roller coaster for some people. But I've mentioned the benefits of knowing yourself, so you also try it. Try to know yourself. So now I will talk about how you could know yourselves. So I have listed 2 ways. Number 1, examine your reactions. Number 2, ask others about yourself. So you can examine your reactions. You can try to know what you think of other things. In shorter words, you can try to know your perspective or opinion of other stuff. For example, maybe you can watch the news. You can find some new issues that interest you. Then maybe you can make a recording of yourself talking about the news issues that interest you. Then maybe you can know more about your opinion and how you think of other things. Maybe you can keep a diary. If you're a writer, you can write about things that have happened to you in like maybe a week or something. Like maybe once in a week you can write a diary entry or something. And you can draw too if you're an artist. Maybe you can draw some scenery that you like. Then after drawing what you like, you might realize that, oh, I'm actually a person who can pay attention to details very well. So there are a lot of ways to know yourself, and if I listed them one by one, I can go on for all day. But now I want to mention a way that I really like to use when I feel confused about my emotions or stuff, and I use this way to know myself. This is an iceberg, but it's not just any iceberg. This is called the Satir iceberg theory. It's a tool for people to know oneself. So you can draw this iceberg to examine how you react to other stuff. You can see that there are some words on the iceberg: behavior, coping, feelings about. How can you use the Satir iceberg theory? Let's say that maybe you got bullied by your friends. It's just an example, So maybe your behavior was, maybe you cried. And how do you cope with crying? Maybe you tell your friends, your family, maybe your teachers. So these two words, behavior and coping, are on top of this line because only others can see how you behave and how you cope with things. But other things, like your feelings about feelings, perceptions, etc., cannot be seen. Only you know these things over here. So they are underwater, under this line. And so you can use this iceberg to know yourself in a more organized way. So think of each word. Like you can ask yourself questions. So what was my behavior when this thing happened? What were my feelings, my expectations? Think of these questions and you can write down answers in this structure, the iceberg structure. So there are pros and cons of this way. The pros is that you can take out your records anytime. It's like if you have made a recording, if you had made a picture, then you can take them out and review them. So yeah, it's kind of like examining your past. So yeah, you can also examine your past to know yourself. It's also a pretty good way. And using the Satir iceberg theory is pretty effective in knowing yourself, in my opinion. So the cons, you may not have enough time. It takes time to draw the iceberg or maybe record your feelings and other stuff. And we are all students here at Lam Woo and we're very busy, right? So maybe you won't have enough time to use different ways to know yourself. Maybe the process would take 15 minutes or maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. or maybe even more. So here's another way to know yourself. You can ask others about yourself. Assuming that you all pay attention in LMS class, you should know what the perceived self is. But just in case you don't, I would explain what it is to you. And please pay attention in LMS class. The perceived self is what kind of person you are in the eyes of others. So you can ask your friends, teachers, family, or any adult you trust you can ask them what they think of you. There's a reason why I have typed not really recommended right behind your friends. I don't really recommend you asking your friends about yourself because some of your friends might be about the same age as you. They may be a bit insensitive and may hurt your feelings by, I don't know, maybe criticizing you. Also, since people near our age now, as teenagers, we may be insensitive and the descriptions of your friends might not be accurate. So it's always better to ask adults, especially your family, what they think of you, in my opinion. So the pros of this way, you get to see yourself in a different way, as your own view of yourself may be more limited. Like maybe you only see the good in yourself, but you can't see the bad. So that's when other people can step in. Others could tell you what they think of you, like what are your weaknesses, and maybe they can help you improve. And the cons, are others' descriptions of you accurate? Like I've said before, there is this thing called the perceived self. So maybe in your mom's eyes, you're untidy. Maybe in your teacher's eyes, you're mature. Maybe in your friend's eyes, you're kind and helpful. So how do you know if they're actually lying or maybe their descriptions of you aren't accurate? It's kind of hard because you have to analyze all sorts of information you get from your friends and family, etc. So yeah. And if others criticize you when you ask them about yourself, you have to accept what they think of you because you can't change it. So what's the meaning of this slide? I had written way 1, way 2, way 3, etc. over here. So what I'm trying to say here is there are many, many ways to know yourself. And I have just listed 2. No one says you have to use my ways. You could use your own ways. And if you have some other ways to know yourself, just use them. Yeah, you don't have to use mine. So here goes. I almost had to finish this talk. And before I do, I'd like to say something to all of you. Everyone is special, and I'm sure all of you have heard other people tell you, oh, you're very special and your potential is unlimited. And you may think that others are lying to you. But I'm here to tell you that it's true. You really are special because, well, you may think you're a normal kid here in Lam Woo like everyone else, or you may think that you're a normal teacher here in Lam Woo like everyone else, but you're not. No matter how similar two people are, they have to have something that sets them apart from each other. No one could have the same personality, habits, age, or whatever with you. You will be you, and you are different from others. And that alone makes you special. So I have two cousins. They are identical twins and they look very much alike. But they're two different people with very different personalities. And they are very different from each other. So you're special. And yeah, everyone has a light inside of them, you know. I'm not being dramatic. Everyone really has a light inside of them. And that light is the unique combination of qualities each person has. If you can know yourself, then you can find your own light, take it out and let it shine. So maybe for some people, they think they're very ordinary and normal, and they don't have something inside of them that makes them special. Well, that's probably because that you don't know yourself that much. A person who knows himself or herself a lot would know what strengths or weaknesses he or she has, and that person would appreciate himself or herself. So you all want to be that person, right? You all want to feel special and to know yourselves. So this is why I'm doing this talk. I want everyone to know that they really are special, and to know that they are, they have to know themselves. I've seen a lot of successful people claiming that hard work, dedication, etc. are the ways to success. They are, but I don't know why no one mentions that knowing yourself is a way too. Before being hardworking or dedicated to a project that might turn you into a successful person, you must know your capabilities and strengths. You have to know whether or not you are up for the project and whether or not you have the ability to finish the project. So yeah, maybe all of you know who Einstein is, right? So Einstein was actually noted as a stupid person at first. Stupid, but now in the world he is known as a very, very clever and famous person. So he had invented lots of theories and stuff, but before he does that, he has to know whether or not he can think of these theories. He has to know, oh, do I have the dedication? Do I have the personality, the time for me to think of these theories, to finish my work? Yeah, successful people need to know themselves too. Everyone has to know themselves. I think it should be a rule for everyone to know themselves, because if maybe you're Dora and you don't know yourself, then that seems kind of wrong, you know. So this is the end of my tea talk, and do you guys have any questions for me? No? So yeah, this is the end of my tea talk. I hope it helped you. And this is my first time doing a talk in front of everyone, so I may have made a few mistakes or something, and maybe what I'm saying doesn't make sense to you all at all. But I hope one day you will understand and know thyself starting from today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ian. So everyone is back. So anyone can make a private talk here, okay? So if you have any questions, please tell me. You want to have a talk? Thank you. And this week we will have the last